Have you ever felt at the mercy of life, as if everything you had built disappeared suddenly, without warning, without reason? Imagine losing what you love most, or seeing all your efforts crumble like a sandcastle, realizing that nothing is under your control. It is precisely in that moment that the deepest pain arises, but also the rarest opportunity, learning to transform absence into resilience, suffering into strength. Stoicism is not just an ancient philosophy, it is a secret manual for emotional survival, a lens that reveals how to react when everything seems lost. It's not about ignoring sadness, but understanding it, mastering it, and using its power to rebuild life more consciously and powerfully. More important than simply hearing Stoic concepts is understanding every word, every nuance, because it is in these details that the mind truly absorbs change. Even if some ideas seem repetitive, each principle has a specific purpose, capturing the mind in ways that superficial understanding never could. This meticulous attention allows us to apply the teachings practically, creating real transformation, not just a fleeting sense of motivation. What if I told you that this millennia-old mindset can be applied today in your daily life to face losses, disappointments, and frustrations that seem overwhelming? It's not magic, nor an easy shortcut. It's about training your mind to perceive what truly matters, distinguishing between what you can control and what lies beyond your reach. While most struggle against reality, the Stoic learns to navigate it, turning obstacles into stepping stones for growth. In this video, you will discover how this ancient wisdom guided everyone from ancient merchants to emperors and modern leaders to find balance amidst chaos. We'll reveal practical techniques to face losses, deal with unexpected absences, and strengthen your mind so that nothing, even adversity, can bring you down. Each concept, each carefully studied word, acts as a trigger to reprogram thoughts, shape emotional responses, and build resilience. Truly understanding the essence behind each teaching is what transforms knowledge into real action, and action into concrete life change. This is how Stoic philosophy moves from mere reading to daily practice. Are you ready to discover the secret that can change the way you face life, your pain, and your losses? Ready to absorb every nuance and let understanding generate real, lasting change, shaping your mind to endure and thrive, even in the face of the unexpected? Imagine losing everything you built in a lifetime: home, work, security, status. How would you react? Many would sink into despair, others would blame fate, and some might even give up. But a rare minority transforms this ruin into rebirth. This is where the essence of Stoicism emerges, not denying pain, but shaping it into strength. It's not about ignoring tears, but drying them and using them as proof that rising again is possible. The modern world, full of uncertainties and sudden falls, demands that you learn this ancient art of resilience. Sooner or later, everyone will have the ground pulled from beneath their feet. When was the last time you lost something and spent days stuck in self-pity? Perhaps a job, a relationship, or even a simple opportunity. The Stoic wastes no time lamenting the inevitable. They focus on how to respond. Think about it. You may not control the storm that falls upon your life, but you can decide whether to hide under the bed or learn to dance in the rain. This mindset separates those who wither from those who reinvent themselves. Suffering is inevitable, but despair is a choice. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you haven't yet mastered this key, you're putting your life in the hands of chance. The Stoic mind functions like a powerful filter. Amid chaos, it separates what deserves attention from what should be ignored. You can curse traffic, blame an unfair boss, or stew over someone's words. None of that changes reality. Now, imagine using that time to grow, reading Marcus Aurelius' meditations while waiting, turning criticism into fuel, or practicing mental exercises of acceptance. That is true control. Want a challenge? If what others say still steals your peace, you are living as a puppet, not as the author of your own story. Real examples prove this strength. Viktor Frankl survived the hell of concentration camps and, instead of surrendering to hatred, wrote Man's Search for Meaning, showing that purpose can emerge even in absolute darkness. What you are facing is difficult, no doubt, but have you considered that it may be precisely a call to awaken your own greatness? Stoicism is not a cold philosophy. It is a silent battle cry echoing in the mind. Use the pain, don't run from it. If even men who face death could transform suffering into wisdom, what excuse remains for you? The training starts small. Sleeping on the floor for a night to remind yourself that comfort is relative. Taking a cold shower to prove you can endure discomfort. Writing in a journal to organize your thoughts instead of losing yourself in them. These simple gestures may seem trivial, but they forge an unbreakable spirit. With each practice, you realize it is not pain that weakens you, but your refusal to face it. Life will continue testing your limits, and the question is, will you surrender like everyone else, or choose to be the rare one who transforms wounds into scars of power? Let this question resonate within you. What if the key to the life you seek is already hidden in what you fear most? Suffering can be your greatest enemy or your wisest teacher. It all depends on the choice you make now. If this content has already sparked reflection, if it nudged the part of you that hides from pain, subscribe to the channel and leave a like. Share this video with someone who needs to stop running and start rebuilding. Because in the next step of this journey, you will discover that pain is not just an obstacle, but a portal to something much greater. Loss is an inevitability no one can avoid. Sooner or later, we all face absence of loved ones, of seemingly unbreakable dreams, of opportunities that slipped through our hands. Pain arrives without warning, unexpectedly, and can knock down even the strongest, leaving a difficult void. But Stoicism teaches that this pain does not have to be merely a dark hole inside us. It can be a school of resilience and growth. Zeno, the father of Stoicism, lost his entire fortune in a shipwreck and could have succumbed to despair. Yet it was precisely in that moment of ruin that he discovered the philosophy that would transform his life and the lives of millions. The great lesson is to recognize that even when everything seems lost, true power lies in how we respond to the inevitable. Pain can be a strict teacher, but it is also a path to inner strength, and that is exactly why we must learn to face it consciously. Many people give in to self-pity, believing that loss defines them permanently, as if they were incapable of rebuilding themselves. But the Stoic faces the void and chooses to fill it with action, reflection, and learning. Zeno could have lived as a defeated man, lamenting every possession lost, but he transformed adversity into an opportunity for mental and spiritual growth. The secret lies in seeing loss not as an end, but as a starting point to become a wiser and more conscious version of oneself. This type of mindset isn't learned in ordinary self-help books. It requires observation, discipline, and daily practice, applying the Stoic principle of controlling what is within our reach and accepting what we cannot change. True wisdom is born from direct confrontation with the unexpected, and the earlier we internalize this lesson, the stronger we become in the face of life's storms. Feeling pain is human, and resisting sadness requires courage. Silent nights, moments when the mind revisits painful memories and the heart tightens, are inevitable. Yet these moments are also opportunities for growth. Loss forces us to look inward, to understand our own fragility, and to recognize that even amidst chaos, we can maintain composure. Stoicism does not promise the absence of suffering. It teaches us to transform it into strength, patience, and mental clarity. Imagine each tear as a forge, shaping the mind, strengthening the spirit, and preparing the ground for more balanced decisions. When we learn to consciously cope with absence, what seemed like an ending becomes a new beginning, creating emotional resilience essential for all future trials. Historical examples show us how loss can be transformative. Steve Jobs was fired from his own company, an event many would consider the end of his career. Yet he used this adversity to create new opportunities and revolutionize technology once again. Viktor Frankl, a survivor of Nazi concentration camps, lost his family but found meaning in suffering, inspiring millions through his work Man's Search for Meaning. These examples are not merely inspiring stories, they are evidence that loss, when processed with wisdom and a Stoic mindset, can generate profound learning and prepare a person to face even greater challenges. Pain does not need to be an eternal burden. It can be a bridge to a more conscious, resilient, and meaningful existence. Practicing active acceptance is essential. It is not about passive resignation or ignoring pain, but about looking at reality with clarity and choosing how to act in response. Small daily actions can make a huge difference. Writing about what we feel, meditating, reflecting on life's impermanence, or seeking dialogue with those who have gone through similar experiences. These practices help us reframe loss, transforming suffering into learning and preparing the mind to face future adversities without collapsing. Stoicism reminds us that while we cannot control all external events, we can control our reactions and decisions. Within that difference lies true human power, capable of turning tragedies into turning points. So reflect. To what extent does your pain still define you? What have you lost that continues to shape your days? Is this absence a weight that paralyzes you, or a forge that strengthens your courage and resilience? When we learn to accept the inevitability of loss, we open space for resistance, growth, and self-mastery. Absence, far from being merely an emptiness, can become the fuel that shapes character and teaches us to live with more purpose, clarity, and serenity. This transformation will be explored in the next topic, showing how absence becomes a silent force capable of guiding our choices and defining the Stoic path to a full and conscious life. Absence, when understood stoically, is not just the lack of something or someone. It becomes a silent test of our inner strength. Imagine the void Zeno felt after losing his entire fortune and yet remaining standing, with his mind alert and focused. Each loss confronts us with the inescapable reality that control over the external world is limited, and the only truly powerful weapon is our conscious reaction. Inner resilience is born from recognizing this truth. We cannot prevent the tide from taking what we cherish, but we can choose how we navigate the waves that arise. This understanding, although simple, requires discipline, practice, and daily courage, as our mind tends to seek blame and cling to the past. By transforming pain into learning, we create an invisible fortress that protects us even when the world seems to collapse around us. Resilience is not the denial of pain. It is the ability to absorb it and extract from it the clarity that guides our future actions. When we understand that absence is inevitable, we begin to see hidden opportunities in the gaps left by loss. It is like land devastated by a storm. Although the soil is broken, it is also ready to germinate seeds that could not grow before. The Stoics show us that a mind trained to accept what it cannot control finds serenity even in extreme situations, and this serenity becomes a springboard for more assertive and focused decisions. Learning to transform each void into potential is an active process requiring introspection, discipline, and courage to face not only what is imposed upon us, but also our own reactions. Stoic practices, such as voluntary discomfort, help train the mind to face adversity before it arrives unexpectedly. Sleeping in uncomfortable conditions, reducing privileges, or exposing oneself to small deprivations are exercises that prepare the psyche to withstand greater losses. This type of discipline teaches that absence, far from being an enemy, is an ally in developing emotional resilience. By experiencing controlled discomfort, we learn to separate our happiness from external circumstances, realizing that our value and strength lie in the responses we choose to give. Absence ceases to be a weight and becomes a laboratory, where we test our capacity to maintain balance, focus, and serenity amid life's storms. Historical figures perfectly illustrate this principle. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years in prison, separated from everything he loved, under conditions that would have caused anyone to give up. Yet he transformed this absence into resilience, learning, and strategy. Upon leaving prison, he chose forgiveness and reconstruction, demonstrating that true strength does not lie in revenge, but in the ability to overcome emptiness with wisdom and purpose. This is the essence of inner resilience, understanding that although the world may take away what we desire, a disciplined and resilient mind never loses control of what truly matters: our decisions, values, and actions. Absence also reveals who we are when we have no distractions, comfort, or external validation. Without the noise of the world, we face our own limitations and fears, but also our capacity for overcoming them. It is in this silence that the Stoic finds the opportunity to strengthen character, expand perception, and redefine priorities. Inner resilience is not built in times of ease. It is forged in adversity, in nights when everything seems lost, in absences that test us, and in the space between what we desire and what we can truly control. Therefore, when facing absence, the first reaction should be acknowledgement, accepting that we cannot control everything and that the world will continue its course regardless of our complaints or lamentations. The second reaction is action, deciding how to respond consciously, strategically, and aligned with our values. This daily practice of transforming what is missing into strength prepares us to face any future challenge with balance and courage. Absence ceases to be a limitation and becomes the school of resilience, where each experience shapes us and prepares us for the full and conscious life that Stoicism advocates. Modern life bombards us with expectations, pressures, and results beyond our control, and this is exactly where the dichotomy of control becomes essential. Imagine spending hours planning, working, and striving to achieve a goal, only to realize that external factors, luck, the decisions of others, or unpredictable circumstances can alter the final outcome. The Stoics teach us that true power lies in focusing our energy on what we can control, our choices, reactions, and internal discipline. When we internalize this difference, we begin to invest our mental strength in what truly generates impact, not in illusions of security. Every effort becomes a reflection of our virtue, not merely a fleeting result. Zeno and the great Stoics understood that measuring success by what we cannot control is a recipe for constant frustration. It is like trying to control the wind while attempting to sail a boat. The effort is futile and drains our energy. By focusing on what depends on us, the mind finds clarity and serenity, allowing for more objective and less emotional decisions. For example, in today's context, we can invest in learning a skill, improving our mental health, or cultivating positive relationships, knowing that these efforts are directly influenceable. The dichotomy of control does not make us passive. It makes us strategic, conscious, and prepared to handle any twist life imposes. The exercise of separating what we can control from what we cannot is not just philosophical, but highly practical. Imagine someone under pressure from external metrics, whether at work or on social media. Clicks, likes, and others' approval are beyond our control. However, effort, creativity, and dedication to content are completely within our control. By internalizing this logic, we learn to value the process over the outcome, and every conscious action becomes a pillar of self-confidence and resilience. This approach transforms not only tangible results, but also our perception of the world and ourselves. Historical and contemporary figures reinforce this lesson. Marcus Aurelius, as Roman emperor, dealt daily with challenges impossible to control: wars, political intrigue, economic crises. Yet his attention remained on the decisions he could make, the development of his virtue and ethical behavior. This mindset allowed him to maintain stability and leadership, even when external chaos was overwhelming. The same applies today. Crises, losses, or injustices happen, but our focus on what we can influence determines our resilience and emotional success. Practicing the dichotomy of control also requires self-knowledge and constant discipline. It is necessary to identify automatic impulses of frustration, anger, or anxiety in response to uncontrollable events, and instead of reacting, cultivate reflection. Modern techniques such as meditation, journaling, and visualization exercises mirror this Stoic practice. The idea is simple. External reality is neutral. Our interpretation, reaction, and choice determine whether we are victims or protagonists. Each moment of self-awareness strengthens the power of choice and expands our capacity to live with serenity, even in the face of the unexpected. Understanding and applying the dichotomy of control allows us to live more fully and intentionally. It is not resignation, but strategic action. Investing energy in skills, values, and relationships we can truly shape instead of wasting it on useless worries. This mindset shift changes our life perspective. The world remains uncertain, but the mind becomes a safe harbor, resilient against external storms. The constant practice of this principle distinguishes those who suffer from the unexpected from those who transform every challenge into opportunity for growth and continuous learning. Stoicism did not remain confined to ancient history. It found new expressions in modern psychology, showing that principles over 2,000 years old can still transform lives. Techniques such as rational emotive behavior therapy, REBT, and logotherapy are directly based on Stoic teachings, helping individuals identify negative thoughts and replace them with more productive and healthy beliefs. Imagine realizing that constant frustration with small setbacks can be reprogrammed simply by adjusting your interpretation of events. It is like turning on a light in the middle of darkness, allowing the mind to find paths that once seemed impossible. REBT teaches that between stimulus and response, there is a crucial space, and in that space lies our power of choice. A workplace argument, an unexpected criticism, or even disturbing news does not have to bring us down. We can choose to respond with rationality and balance, controlling our reactions instead of being controlled by them. This is the essence of Stoicism applied to modern life. The ability to build emotional resilience, transforming negative experiences into learning without being consumed by the external chaos we all face daily. Logotherapy, in turn, teaches that even in the darkest moments, we can find meaning. Viktor Frankl, inspired by these ideas, demonstrated that life's purpose is not given, but created through our conscious choices and actions. Loss, absence, and suffering become not only bearable, but opportunities to rediscover purpose. Imagine someone coping with the loss of a job or a loved one. By applying Stoicism, they can transform pain into motivation to redefine goals, learn new skills, and rebuild their path with purpose. These techniques show that Stoic practice is not theoretical, but a practical tool for facing daily challenges, sleeping in uncomfortable situations, facing small voluntary sacrifices, or controlling immediate desires are exercises that strengthen the mind for real crises. The central idea is simple yet powerful. If you can endure small adversities, life will never be able to completely defeat you. Stoicism teaches us that true freedom does not come from external control. Applying Stoicism today means redefining where we place our value. Instead of measuring success by money, status, or possessions, we learn to value it through tranquility and personal integrity. The loss of material goods, recognition, or opportunities ceases to be devastating when we understand that our worth does not depend on external factors, but on our stance toward them. This understanding allows us to act with clarity, focus, and serenity, even when the world around us seems unpredictable and unfair. By internalizing these principles, every challenge becomes a laboratory for mental and emotional growth. You learn to respond with resilience, find purpose in adversity, and cultivate virtues that withstand the test of time. Modern Stoicism offers a roadmap for navigating a chaotic world, transforming pain, loss, and absence into opportunities to build inner strength. With each difficulty faced, the human potential to persevere, grow, and achieve true serenity becomes more apparent. A mind steadfast in the face of the unexpected and a heart at peace with life. The time has come to look inward and recognize the true power you carry. The ability to choose how to respond to loss, absence, and the adversities life imposes. Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control everything that happens outside of us, but we have complete mastery over our choices, attitudes, and thoughts. Each principle learned is a tool to strengthen your mind, cultivate resilience, and create a purposeful life, even when everything around you seems unstable and unpredictable. Applying these teachings is not merely an intellectual exercise, but a profound life transformation. It means learning not to get lost in emotions, not to depend on external factors for self-worth or happiness, and to act consciously in every step. Imagine facing setbacks, losses, or frustrations with serenity and clarity, transforming each challenge into a stepping stone for personal growth and fulfillment. This is the essence of truly living, with presence and courage. The key is to absorb every word, internalize each principle, and allow them to shape your responses, habits, and decisions. The more you practice distinguishing between what you can control and what is beyond your reach, the more life ceases to be a field of chaotic battles and becomes a space for learning, strategy, and personal strengthening. This is the difference between merely existing and living fully with purpose. Do not wait for challenges to disappear or for losses to be avoided. They are part of existence. but you can train your mind to resist, adapt, and transform any circumstance into an opportunity for growth. Each experience then becomes an exercise in wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, the four Stoic virtues that hold the secret to a balanced and meaningful life. So here is the invitation. Start applying these principles today, even in the small details of everyday life. Observe your reactions, question your judgments, practice gratitude, and always strive to act according to what truly matters. Share your discoveries in the comments, inspire others to learn and evolve, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue this journey of transformation. Strong mind, serene heart. Remember always, strength in the mind, peace in the heart.